Hey, Mark, I can't see you. Mark was just doing a silent countdown, and I realized he wasn't on my screen. So I'm like, Are we going to go live? Affiliate guy, you'll find us, and make sure to listen to that because we got some good stuff coming up always, but especially during this holiday season. And one of the things I've been saying on this series and throughout our ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions is that if you do it right, these holiday promotions can make up 30 to 50% of your affiliate income for the whole year. In other words, like a third to a half of a year's income can happen in just a matter of 3, 4, 5 weeks. So if you do it right. So today, Mark and Robbie and I are going to share the 5 hottest niches. Actually, we've got more than 5 now. So we've got some bonus ones for today. The hottest niches for holiday affiliate marketing in 2019. Now, first, to be clear, we talked about it last week. Like, we're not just talking about niches that are only hot during the holidays, right? Like, one of the misconceptions that we talked about last week is that this, promoting holiday offers only works in certain niches. We think about, well, of course it works like in the winter coat niche. It works in the, the more the holiday centric niches. I can't even think of another holiday niche for some reason, but
fudge.
What's that?
Fudge.
Fudge is year round. Fudge is year round.
Sausage.
I wish, man.
Oh, fudge. Anyway.
Eggnog.
The eggnog niche. That's a hot niche. Yeah. But it's not true. Like, we've seen this work in e-commerce. We've seen this work in SaaS companies, software as a service. I've seen this work in learning. I've seen this work in online marketing. I've seen this work in the fitness industry, the health industry, you name it, right? That said, there are some niches that are hotter than others, and that is what today is all about. So I mentioned at the beginning, if you have not checked out the ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions, just go to mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide. mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide. I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure Mark's probably got it like scrolling across the screen.
Working on it.
If you missed last week, I was in Mark's place. I was controlling, in addition to doing this, I was controlling what happens on the screen. And Mark, I have a newfound respect for how hard that is, because I was telling Robbie it took me about a half hour, but toward the end I started getting to the point where I could read what he was going to say and pop a URL in, and like he would literally be like saying, all right, and just a reminder, if you haven't checked out and then right across the screen would go the URL, like right as he was saying. And I got to that point where I could start reading what he was going to say. It was kind of cool. So I know that took years of practice for you.
Yes, you got it done in a few minutes.
No, it took me like the whole thing. I was so proud of myself, like right at the end, that I was able to do that. So check that guys out. But Robbie, I thought we'd do kind of what we did last week. And, does
that mean I can just sit back and relax?
No, but now we get to involve Mark as well. So, Robbie, if you can lead us off with kind of that first hot niche for 2000.
Yeah, so as you mentioned before, a lot of these niches, that people think you've got to be in the holiday niche. So we're going to start there. So explain to everybody why the gift niche is something that is perfect for this time of year.
Yeah, well, just to be clear, when I say gifts, first of all, I'm not talking about animated gifts. I'm talking about gifts. Sometimes hard to pick up on that. Like if you had said the word gifts like 10 years ago, would anybody have thought you meant an animated image that you got from Giphy.com? No, of course you wouldn't. But the thing is, what we're talking about here. Oh, and before I share what I mean by gifts, actually, just a quick reminder: if you have not shared this, make sure you share this. Let us know in the comments that you shared it. We want to welcome the people that you share this with, of course. And if you see anybody say hi to them, and we can say hi to them as well. Make sure you share this with anybody who needs to make some more money during this holiday season, because that's what today is all about. So what I mean by gifts is basically that you can, for lack of a better word, I feel like this is a George W. Bush word, you can giftitize. You can giftitize. And I can't say the word giftitize and not go into George W. Bush voice. I can't do it.
You have to do it.
I've tried, like, gift gift-to-tize. No, I can't. I have to do it slowly. So you gift-to-tize anything. Okay, so anything can be a gift.
Giftification.
And giftification. Oh boy. I gotta gift-to-tize it.
5 minutes. It took 5 minutes. Derailed.
Oh, we'll just go back and forth and do presidential impersonations. I cannot do Ronald Reagan though. I've tried. I can't do it. I tap out at Bill Clinton and George W. Bush, but
start doing like Thomas Jefferson impressions. Nobody'd know if they were right or wrong. No, that's exactly what he's like.
This affiliate promotion's huge. Anyway, so gift-to-tize. What I mean by that is anything in the right niche can be a gift. And so one of the things that you should do this holiday season, I highly recommend that you get this up and going now, is a gift guide for your target audience. Okay. So think about your target audience in two ways. One, there's a gift guide for them. So these are things you can buy for entrepreneurs, for high achievers, Gwen, for pet owners, Vic, for productivity geeks, Robbie, for soccer coaches, Mark. I mean, these are the things that you think about, like for your audience, right? What are the gifts that they can, in a way, sort of buy for themselves, or others would buy for them, or they can say, hey, here's my Christmas list to their friends and family. That's an easy way to do it. The second way is if you have a group of people who are looking for gifts for the people in their lives. And what I mean by that is one of the best examples that I can think of is a mutual friend I know of Mark's, and I'm not, Robbie, I don't know if you know Tim Cooper, but Tim, he's an Australian, and he's that's about all I know about him. No, I'm just kidding. I know the country he's from. Nobody ever says it. Like, he's an American. And
my American friend.
George W. Bush would. I know him. He's an American. He's a good American.
He's probably the best
from America.
Best American ever.
From America.
Yeah. Oh boy.
The United States of America.
Evolving quickly. Take the peak. Max out. Okay. Nobody gets that. I don't know why.
I want Frank Caliendo to interview George W. Bush. That's what I want.
Yes.
Or Matt.
So, we actually have an upcoming podcast episode on gift guides, by the way. But when I think of Tim, his audience is chiropractors. Okay. So his audience is looking for gifts for clients. They're looking for gifts for their worker, for their employees. They're looking for gifts for, perhaps other chiropractors, but that's probably not what he would go after. So if you're a chiropractor, you don't know what the heck to get for your team members. What is something that you could get? And so a gift guide. So any niche can be gift-tized. I can't do it. I cannot say the word gift-tized without going into George W. Bush voice. So that's our first one is gifts. Like, just basically you're taking what you already do, right? Whether your audience is entrepreneurs, high achievers, soccer coaches, golfers, hunters, your audience is, parents of unruly children, whatever that, whatever unruly means. It's like a 1950s word there. I don't know where that came from. Whatever your audience, whoever your avatar is, you can create gift guides for the products that they need.
Awesome. Mark, you got any comments on gift-to-tize?
It's probably...
it's true.
Ever. My hands are huge.
Right. We've got it on like 37 screens. 40 billion downloads. No, it's
by the end of the day, it's going to have 8 million views.
That's right. You're welcome. Thank me. No. It's true. I mean, you can do gifts for anything. It made me think of, Matt, you mentioned, gifts for yourself. There's a commercial. I think it's a Buick commercial where it's all about Secret Santaing yourself. Have you seen that?
I haven't.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like, it's like this person's like, to Jim from Jim. Oh, I love it. And then they're like looking at a brand new car. It's awesome. I mean, it's everybody's. I think you're right. People do look just for. It's a reason to get yourself something sometimes. Like, it's Christmas. I mean, that's what I'm doing. My birthday is next week, and then Christmas. So my wife's just like, get whatever you want. I'm like, I told her I need new shoes because my shoes are wearing out. She's like, well, it'll be your birthday present. I'm like, I need gym shoes too. Well, Christmas. I'm like, jeez. I told my kids, I go, that's what happens when you get old. You just
we'll
get
come back to those
practical,
later.
practical gifts.
Right. You get socks and
underwear. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a few people do this really well, where they'll even do like I don't even know. I don't think Amazon does like the Amazon like widget anymore, but where they'll basically say, I've seen people do it for Prime Day, where they'll say, hey, here's the top Prime Day deals for my niche, whatever. So you can do it any time of year, and people like that. They appreciate just you kind of curating that kind of stuff for them.
Definitely.
I love Jim's comment. Oh, that's awesome.
Actually, Jim, will you be saying it in a George W. Bush accent though?
Yeah, but it's GIFTITIZD is how I spell it, and since I invented this word.
So speaking of people who invent things and get things in front of audiences, let's get back on track.
Look at segue here.
Look at that segue. I love segues. I fell off one once.
All right. So next, let's look at the entrepreneurship niche and how can this be used during the holiday season?
I have a question though before we do that. If you effectively lead into a conversation about a mobile device that you stand on, is that a segue or?
Yes. Kind of like a reservation.
Oh man. All right. So
name that skit.
I don't know. Entrepreneurship. So great niche, because I mean, statistics show more people are finding their way toward entrepreneurship than ever before. Okay. Like this is awesome. This is awesome for people like me who teach people how to be entrepreneurs, how to monetize platforms. The thing is, for affiliate, like you could look at this, if you're in the entrepreneur niche, you could look at this negatively and say, well, that means more competition. I actually just means it means a lot of opportunity as affiliate marketers, because there are no shortage of courses out there. No product, no problem. For example, there are no shortage of membership sites out there. Affiliate Insider Monthly, also tons of other people's amazing products as well that you can promote as an affiliate. And a lot of those companies are giftitizing those products. They're making those products available for promotions during the holidays. And the thing about this is we're at that time of year. We'll talk about this kind of a theme throughout today. You'll hear me say the phrase, it's that time of year, multiple times. Well, it's that time of year we think of gifts. So you giftitize things. You make anything into a gift. It's that time of year. I mean, like I've already started seeing them, and we're also at the end of a decade too. So it's even worse. It's like top 10 of this decade, top 10 biggest surprises in college football of this decade, top 10 players, top 10 news events, top 10, like everything's a top 10, at this time. Like that's officially what the month of December is. It's like the top 10 things that have happened in the past year, decade, millennium, millennia. I don't know what, I don't know whatever else there is. Well, it's happened in the last 1,000 years, let's see. Fire was invented. I don't know when that was exactly, but I don't know if that made anybody's list. But like we look at these things and it can be kind of annoying if you look at it from a cynical view, but it's that time of year. People are reflecting. And so what they're reflecting on is typically one of two things or both. They're reflecting on the good. They're reflecting on the things that went well, the happy memories, but they're also reflecting on the goals that were unfulfilled. They're reflecting on their dreams that weren't met. And so that's why entrepreneurship is a big thing this time of year, a big industry, a big niche to promote, getting into starting your own business, because next year's going to be different. Next year's going to be different. And it's just a natural break. January 1st, there's nothing special about it if you guys haven't realized, other than most of us don't work and there's a lot of college football on. There's nothing special about January 1st, just as there's nothing special about December 31st. You could start a business just as easily on August 17th as you could on January 1st. It's just that people are thinking about it more this time of year. So it's a big, big niche this time of year.
Yes.
So far,
there's nothing to say. Don't say it.
We've covered two niches. Number one, the gift niche, where you can gift-itize anything, and number two, entrepreneurship, where you take the art of giftitizing and you sell it to people. So next, make sure we're documenting all of this Facebook Live, all the everything we've been talking about for the last several weeks over at mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide. That's our ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions.
Robbie, I'll just say it is the ultimate guide. Like,
oh yeah,
there's a reason
it's crazy.
When you search for holiday affiliate promotions, we're number one on Google. Mark, you said it best a couple of weeks ago. You're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said holy crap, but you said, I cannot believe how much content is on this ultimate guide. It's borderline like insane, isn't it?
Yeah. We almost need to put it behind a paywall, but we don't. So
quick, go look at it before Matt changes his mind.
Robbie's famous question: how can we monetize this?
Yes, my famous question.
My
all right, so
question that Robbie asks, by the way.
Yeah, that's legitimate. That's legitimate. And so let's look at this next one then. Hobbies, right? So speaking of things I want to monetize, hobbies. How can I monetize my hobbies during this time of year, especially, expensive hobbies?
Yeah. Well, I mean, expensive is a word I can't pronounce, apparently. It's expensive.
Expensify it.
It's expensification. Oh, man. You start off with the George W. Bush impersonation. You will never be able to speak clearly again. I mean, expensive is a relative word, so when I think of expenses, I think or expensive, I think of anything that requires people to think for a minute. Disc golf, for example, is not a very expensive hobby. I think my discs cost collectively about $70, and it's free to go play at any disc golf course in the local parks. I mean, it's like, that's it. That's all. I can't spend more money if I tried, at my level, at least. Regular golf, you're talking about paying to play, plus, thousands of dollars on golf clubs, golf shoes, like golf. The reality is, like, the stuff I would wear at a golf course if I still played is not the stuff I would wear on an everyday basis. Just being honest, like, I would have,
because we would make fun of you.
Maybe.
Definitely.
No, we would.
It's a hobby. Even if you're not like a member somewhere, it's an expensive hobby. Fishing is an expensive hobby. Hunting is an expensive hobby. Camping, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but like camping is an expensive hobby. Painting can be an expensive hobby. Art collecting can be an expensive hobby. Gosh, what are some, even like collecting, like vinyl,
Cars.
vinyl records. What's that?
Cars.
Yeah. Cars can be an expensive hobby. Like photography, all of these things. So if you're in any of these niches, great. If you're not in any of these niches, there are some ways that you can get people to spend bigger on some of these hobbies. And so, for instance, in our world, in the entrepreneurship world, there are some connections to hobbies, because we want to encourage people to explore hobbies. Because what is it? The phrase "all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy." I'm a big believer in what Michael Hyatt, teaches. I know you guys listen to Michael, and he's a big advocate of leaders and business owners, entrepreneurs need to have a hobby. They need to have something that gets them away. And so for me, I used the example earlier. For me, it is disc golf. So if you're trying to sell me expensive hobby stuff, you're up the creek. It's not because I don't play disc golf because it's cheap. It just happens to be the thing I like to do, and it happens to be really inexpensive. About once every year, I have to buy like a single new disc at a cost of like $12. Woo! So this does not apply to me. But I am going to start taking up. Mark, I haven't told you this, but I am going to start taking up an expensive hobby here, probably in the coming year, just because my son wants to do it. I'll talk more about that later. Because it's its own separate thing, because it really is its own beast. But,
and that, folks, is what we call an open loop.
Thank you, Dr. Zeigernick. So if you don't know what the Zeigernick effect is, by the way, you need to hang around us more. You need to
now you do.
Listen to all my podcasts, watch all my videos, because I explain it about 100 times, but not today. Because it's awesome. It's one of the best marketing techniques there is out there. So yeah, look for these hobbies. It's a great niche, especially this time of year, because people are looking. They're looking for two things. One, they're looking to start a new hobby, This is kind of the time of year when people buy things to feed other people's hobbies. Oh, I know that Joe's a golfer, so I'm going to buy him something golf related. I said two things when it was three. The third thing is they're looking for deals because they are expensive hobbies. And the reality is, take a sport, a hobby like, we'll just use golf since, I know a lot about it. If the reality is, if you make $60,000 in the United States, golf will take up a large chunk of your budget. And so those people are looking for deals for their own stuff this time of year because they know there will be some deals. It's also out of season for a large chunk of America. And so it's a good time good time of year to get some deals.
So what if your hobby is like a bucket list item, like travel or something like that? How can this holiday season apply to that?
Well, it's that time of year. I said I'm going to say that a lot because it is like bucket list items are huge this time of year. We'll talk soon specifically about travel, which can be considered a bucket list thing. But what about learning something that you've always wanted to learn? Learning a foreign language, learning how to play an instrument. I used to work for a company, and one of our main courses, it was about a $4 million a year course, was Gibson's Learn and Master Guitar. And if you watched our sales, like any retailer, like anybody who's sold anything, generally speaking, our sales started to creep up in mid-November. And then they'd really start to go up around Black Friday. They would continue through about December 4th or 5th, and they would level off for the whole rest of the year. And then right before Christmas, they drop down like everybody else seems to do that time of year. But then an interesting thing happened. On January 2nd, they really started to pick up. Actually, it kind of started on like December 30th. It'd slowly start to pick up. Then on January 2nd, we'd have another hockey stick. And that would level off through about the middle of the month. And then it would slowly kind of peter off through, early to mid-February. Why? Because it's a new year. And what we found is our audience was 50 to 64-year-old men. Typically. Did we have some female students? Of course. Did we have some young students? Of course. But it was 50 to 64-year-old men who fit the criteria. Their youngest child had made high school or older. They were either empty nesters or their youngest child was now of age to, roughly drive, be a lot more independent. And it was usually like the last child in the house. They had time. They had time to finally, play guitar. They had time to finally learn how to do something they'd always wanted to do, how to learn a language, how to start a business, going back to entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, to start a blog, to start doing photography. Like you see how these start to tie in, like bucket list items can often be hobbies, but you want to look for those things. Like what is something that your audience has always wanted to do? Think about that. What is something your audience has always wanted to do, but they've never done? And one of the best ways to find that out is just to ask them, what is something you've always wanted to do but never done? And then promote things around that to them.
I think you bring up an important point there. This time of year, a lot of people are looking at Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, but you're talking a lot about the new year, right? And how transformative that new year, new decade, how that can really continue to drive sales way past Christmas. So yep. Something to keep in mind there.
Well, and it's just, like I said, there's nothing significant about this time of year in terms of, here's, think about like my journey. When I started, getting in better shape right after Father's Day. There was no significance to that particular day. It's just when I made the decision to. A lot of people around this time of year, of course, say, well, on January 1st, and so it's just like everything you're doing in marketing is taking advantage of where people are, and when I say take advantage of, I don't mean in a nefarious way. It's just people are naturally reflecting on the end of the year.
Yep.
They're reflecting on the last 11 months. They're looking forward to the new year. And so use that.
It's interesting because there's a lot of studies out there that say, well, the number one age that people complete marathons is 29 years old. Because they don't do it before they're 30. The next age that people complete marathons, 39 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's on the 9s, every single one, up until you get into like the 60s or something like that, because it's there's a definitive endpoint, and that's something to think about as we approach the new year.
Yeah.
And the new decade.
Go with something else when you started talking about marathons, because I heard a really interesting stat that was like, we are our fastest. We hit our peak speed at the age of 19, and it takes us, or maybe it was even later than that. Maybe it was 19. I can't remember, but it takes us 19 years to hit peak speed. And so this guy, they were asking, like, when do you think we then reach, the point where we slow down? And he was like, well, it takes us 19 years to get there. I don't know, probably about 38. And actually, when we hit our peak speed at 19, or it might be a little bit later than 19, but I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was like 24. We hit our peak speed at 24, 19, 24. We actually level off until our late 50s. And then the rate at which we slow down is like a third of the rate at which we speed up. Like, we slow down at a very slow level. Just proof that, like, you can be 55. It's not really that much of a miracle when a 55-year-old runs a marathon at the same speed they did when they were, 25. That's how our bodies are designed. Fun fact there. All right, let's move on.
And that will help you in your holiday promotions.
So if I want to travel some way besides my feet.
Man, you are on a seg roll today.
Hey, you know what? It turns out when you teach 13-year-old for 10 years, you learn how to get everybody back on track.
I did see
you also start thinking you're funnier than you actually are, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, teaching 13-year-olds, definitely.
I saw a question in there from Vic, Mark. I don't know if one of you can put that up on the screen.
Oh, I missed it. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh,
Go ahead. Start reading it now.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, there it is. Found it.
Is there any way to do that when you aren't in that niche?
So I'm assuming she meant entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I saw it pop up then, and I apologize. I just wasn't able to focus on it then. So let us know, or Vic, if that is what you meant, was promoting it. But you can really just apply this to anything. Is there a way to promote things that aren't in your niche specifically? And I think of, I'll use my niche, for example. There are ways for us to promote many things that aren't really in our niche, like hobbies, like travel, like, I'm trying to think of some examples, actually. Hobbies, travel, those would be good. Bucket list type things, would all be good things for my niche that has nothing to do with any of those things. And so in your niche, or, again, or any niche, let's say, because you're in the dog niche, Vic, if I'm not mistaken, the fact that you have a dog in your picture helps me to remember that, for the record. So I will thank you.
So don't ever change your profile picture, Vic. Ever.
Yeah, are there things
ever.
that you could? Yeah, please don't. Yeah, please don't ever take.
Or Matt will think that you are in the
rocket science niche,
eggnog niche.
What are some things that you could promote that maybe aren't necessarily in your niche that apply to this? Are there some? We think about people who really get into learning how to work with dogs. I think of like Susan Garrett's audience, Mark. Susan Garrett's audience are typically in their mid 40s. They're not they're not the 28-year-old who just had their first kid and has a dog. They don't typically think about things like really getting a dog, to act properly and things like that. They kind of tend to wing it more, and they don't think of like obedience training and stuff. So when I think of that audience, I would think definitely of some bucket list things, and I would think of really encouraging your audience. Like, what are some adventures maybe they could take with their dog? Have you ever, you have a dog and you leave your dog at home for 10 hours a day in a crate? Have you ever thought about working from home? There's an angle that you could possibly, use. So there are ways, to promote entrepreneurship, of course. So there are some ways to do that are a little bit creative.
Well, and I think, when we're talking about promoting stuff outside your niche, I think it's important for us to remember, because we all, I think, fall into this, where we look at our audience as being in only one-dimensional. They're only interested in the one thing that we're talking about. And that's not true. I mean, they're all humans. They all, just because they're interested in, building an online business or affiliate marketing doesn't mean they're also not interested in XYZ. And I think that's what we have to remember is that, you know, our audience are real people and they have the same hopes, dreams, aspirations, hobbies, ideas, plans that the rest of us do.
Yeah.
And so you can very easily, I think, especially this time of year, you can very easily kind of slide into other areas like bucket lists, like travel, like best gifts, those types of things, because, and I think some ways it might even benefit you because your audience now realizes that you see them as a human being. You know, you don't just see them as somebody that's going to buy your product. You see them as somebody that has other interests and other things that they want to do and other things that they focus their time on. And it makes you more human when you share that side of yourself as well.
And, you know, it's that time of year. I feel like every time I say that phrase, I need to go like this, by the way. I'm going to do that from now on.
That time of year.
You know, it's that time of year to try some new things, because that stretch that I just said there, Vic, from do you want to spend more time with, you know, at home, admittedly is a stretch, but now's the time to do that. Like if you did that in the middle of May when there wasn't a deal on something, you know, it's a little bit harder to position that and to sell something that might be, you know, at a major discount during the holiday season.
Yeah.
What's our next one, Robbie?
Did we talk about travel or not?
We kind of touched on it. So we'll talk about travel. Like, I mean, this is, if I'm not mistaken, outside of health and fitness, the travel industry is the biggest niche in affiliate marketing. I'm almost positive that it is. I really have statistics on that. It wouldn't surprise me if it was right up there close to the health and fitness, you know, industry. And again, it's that time of year. You know, people are thinking about what? It's 2019. I didn't do the travel I wanted to this year. You know, we had to cancel a trip this year, so I did less travel than we did. We spent a week less traveling than we wanted to because we had to cancel a trip. And I don't know if I feel guilty about that or anything, but I mean, if I can imagine if you wanted, you know, to travel a certain amount this year and you didn't, you'd feel guilty. And so you're thinking about those things. You're thinking, nope, next year's going to be different. I'm going to do some travel. I'm going to plan that trip. I'm going to surprise my spouse with a trip to so-and-so. So travel is huge. Like people want to escape, especially this time of year in the North. You know, I mean, roughly, I don't know, half the country lives in an area where it's really cold right now, you know, approximately. In fact, I'm going to go on a limb and say half the world lives somewhere where it's cold right now, if not probably more, because I think the majority of the people live in the Northern Hemisphere. People want to escape. People want to take a nice long vacation that's, you know, somewhere that's warm and fun. Like we're all envisioning, I am not thinking, dreaming of a white Christmas. I am dreaming of like New Year's on a beach, you know, and it's something where we spend an irrational amount of money. Going back to like expensive hobbies, when you have that thing that you just love to do, you spend an irrational amount of money, and so there's a ton of money to be made, you know, in the travel niche. And I'll just say from experience, I know some people who run travel affiliate programs. It's probably the best run niche. Again, right up there with the health and fitness niche. It's the commissions are astronomical. Even a 10% commission on a $4,000 or $5,000 vacation, you can do the math. You know, it's about the same you get with a 50% commission on $1,000, you know, digital course. So the commissions are amazing, and there's a lot of options out there. And the other thing is, again, it's that time of year where people are already thinking about this stuff. They're going to plan a trip for 2020, and you just catch them doing what they're already going to do, and you get a commission for it.
You see Stacy's comment there?
I did not.
It's on the screen.
Boom.
She said, yeah, year end is the #1 customer lifecycle. And then she just said we made over 50% of our money in December. That was when she worked for travel.com. So
nice. Which is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, there are niches where been saying 30 to 50% in a matter of, you know, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And that applies for your affiliate promotions. Like that's a company that did that. And that applies for your affiliate promotions as well. Now I'm trying to read you and Gwen are going at it today.
Well, she just had this whole thing about how she doesn't run anymore because she ruined her knees or whatever. And then right after that, she said, I have to run to a meeting. Can you summarize everything at the end? And I'm like, don't run. Like it's bad for your knees. You can't say like something like that.
So we got a question from Jenny here. Ideas for travel related blog posts in December.
travel. I mean, again, depending upon your niche, you think about what your niche, what they're seeking to do. If you have a niche where they already have location freedom, then how about, so again, I mean, I'm just making these up here. So like I've got an audience that a lot of them have location freedom, but they need but they still need to run their business. You know, they're a solopreneur, they're a small team. They can't just take the whole month of, you know, December or January off. Okay. So they need good Wi-Fi. They need good internet. They need the ability to actually run their business in a few hours a day and not be on like, you know, dial up or worse. So do some research and find out what are the best places to visit that have, you know, that kind of thing.
Family travel, Matt. There's your
travel.
There's your name.
You know, in your case for family travel, Jenny, it's like look up the places do the research to find the places that are the best for families. So I'm going to go on a limb and say it's probably not Daytona Beach. You know, you probably want to avoid certain places for obvious reasons that are near certain types of beaches where clothing is optional. You know, like serious, you know, think about those things. What are the cruises that are, you know, kid friendly? Obviously the Disney cruises are probably going to be the top thing. Think about, you know, budgets, you know, I mean, especially you get 4 more kids, you know, like budget is a big deal. So what's the best, you know, what are some of the options where, I know there's some, there's some cruises where like, forget what I'm trying to think. Oh gosh, I can't think. It's like Norwegian or one of them. Don't quote me on this, but you know, there's a cruise where it's like, they don't charge you for anybody over the 4th person. So if you've got a family of 7, like as long as, you know, it's not like additional adults, you know, there you go. You know, like if you got 7 kids, you're paying the same as 4. For a family with 7 kids, that's an amazing deal that they might not know about and things like that. I mean, here you guys can see the comments. Yeah. You got the, you know, the school break thing is obviously a good one. If you homeschool though, you know, here's the thing. Here's when we travel in January. We homeschool. I don't need to travel over the Christmas break because it doesn't matter to us. So we go in January because we can go for the whole month of January to Florida for what most people would pay for a week. It's just the cost goes dramatically down in January. So if you homeschool, for example, teach that. You know, talk about that and give them options to do travel in off-peak times. You know, many of your audience were conditioned. And so like we're first generation homeschoolers, right? As are most people, I would imagine, that homeschool. Here's the thing. That didn't come instinctively to us. Like I just thought you traveled between December 21st and January 4th. And then you traveled from, you know, Memorial Day. Well, now it's like June 20th and they let the kids out of school here. But whatever. And then they go back like July 31st, right, Robbie? You know, it's ridiculous. Can we just talk about that for a minute? No. But, you know, like we're conditioned to think that's when you travel is when the kids are out of school. Our kids are out of school whenever they want to be out of school. Or we'll just do school in Florida. Last year, we studied marine biology every day, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. Take that one, state of Indiana. Because all the state of Indiana does is say you have to do schooling a certain number of days per year. And you know, anyway, I'm going to get like hate mail just for the record. Our 8-year-old tested today. She reads at a high school level. So also take that one, state of Indiana. Anyway.
You know why? You know why she does? Because you follow the recommended number of days that you school her every day. Yeah, if it was not for them making you do that, Matt, she would be reading at a kindergarten level as an 8-year-old. So you're welcome.
What did I say in my text to you guys?
You're welcome from state of Indiana.
I read at a high school level too when I was in high school. My daughter is smarter than me by an astronomical factor at this point. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, those are some ideas, Jenny. I mean, it's really it's just, you know, as far as family travel, you know, think about those. What are the reasons why families travel? What are the things that hold them back from traveling and solve those problems? Oh, you think you can't travel? Well, who is it? She's an NPMP student.
Crazy 2-year-olds.
No, I cannot remember her name, and I'm so sorry. her audience is basically, she teaches people how to travel with an autistic child. And what I told is like, gosh, it'll hit me at some point, probably after we do this. And I remember talking to her one day, and she was like, well, but I don't have letters behind my name. You know, I don't, I'm not a doctor. I don't do all these things. And I said, hey, here's a question for you. Be honest. You ever wanted to kill your children? And she said, well, about every day. And I said, then talk about that. I said, if you can teach somebody, like if you can paint this picture of what traveling with an autistic child can look like, total chaos. I'm embarrassed. Oh gosh, everybody's looking at me. I hate this. I don't even want to do this. We're just going to get back on the next plane and turn, you know, that's it. I'm never flying again. We're going to drive everywhere in separate cars. My kid's going to take an Uber and I'm going to drive a rental car. You know, I mean, like that's what you're thinking at that moment. You teach them how you went from that to a peaceful plane flight with none of that experience. That's your platform. And so you just think about those things. What are those holdups? What are the objections? And then you address them, Jenny. Great question, by the way. That went like a totally different direction than I thought it would, and I enjoyed it.
So what if you're traveling in the outdoors?
You're just going to go with, so what? And that's like, you're going to segue every one of these with that, even if they don't.
Well, I've started. I can't stop now. It's like, that time of year.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, make sure if you haven't yet, check out our ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions at mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide. What? Oh, you were going to say that. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I just got it on the screen before you even.
So what if you haven't checked out our ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions at mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide? Because it's
while you were outside.
To check out the ultimate guide to holiday affiliate promotions at mattmcwilliams.com. I can't do it. Sorry.
And make sure that you giftitize. Just get them all in there all at once. Well,
it's the best guide ever.
You'll be thanking me. You'll be thanking me for bringing this guide to you.
8 billion people have read my ultimate guide today. I can't do the voice. I really can't. I tried, but I can't do it. I'll work on it. Oh, what were we talking about? Outdoors?
Yes, outdoors.
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier, like the outdoors, camping, hiking, fishing, that kind of stuff. That could go in that hobbies niche that I talked about earlier. I mean, you know, if you're an outdoors person, you know it's expensive. If you know, camping is. It's weird. We think about like camping. It's like how to escape from the everyday life and like go live rustically, and then we spend $4,000. You know, I don't. That's
camping.
Matt, I want you to explain this to us. I want you to explain camping to us, please. Please continue on with this.
It is sleeping out of doors and then not using a stove.
For those of you who don't know, Matt doesn't camp.
That's what I said.
So I'm waiting for him to describe the type of gear that you could recommend.
There's a hobby that I plan on taking up this year because my son wants to do it and my daughter does. And that is camping. I do plan on going camping. I know about fishing.
Will there be photo evidence?
Because I've actually had I've known 3 professional fishermen in my life, like 3 of the top professional fishermen ever. Never been fishing a day in my life. But I knew them, and my dad went with them many times. And I know it's expensive. Like all these things are expensive. So I put them in their own category. You know, because the thing about these niches is you might think that they're getting more popular in 2019, 2020 because of everything being digitized and people want to escape. The reality is they never went down. Like they're no more or less popular today than they were 20, 30 years ago. And so there's a ton of stuff online. I mean, the camping industry, like the camping equipment industry, like billions of dollars in sales, like backpacks, sleeping bags, tents, like all of these things, you know, shiking shoes. Yes. I don't know. That's like a weird word, but hiking shoes, like all this stuff.
What else, Matt? What else?
What's that?
What else?
What else? Fishing
Matt has listed everything he knows about camping.
Tackle boxes, canoes, kayaks, you know, again, talking outdoor here, kayak helmets, oars, What else? Life vests. I mean, like I could go on and on, right? And the thing,
please do.
What's that?
Please do.
No, I'm not going to though. The reality is there's just a ton. Like people are searching for these things. They're buying these things. A lot of these things are expensive. And again, you have, like any niche, really, you have kind of two levels. You have the people who will do it on the cheap, but you've also got the people who this is their thing and they will spend irrational amounts of money on it. Like I'm going to go fishing. I'm buying probably the cheapest pole and I want like whatever. I don't really care.
I'll give you my fishing pole.
Because here's the thing. If I don't catch the fish, I know how to go to the store. There are other people who like don't eat fish unless they catch it. It's I know more power to them. And so they'll spend an irrational amount of money. Ice fishing, that's a crazy expensive thing, and something that apparently is like a thing that people do. I don't understand it, but they do it. So look for this. And I mean, there's tons of programs. REI is a great one. The cool thing is REI is like the Amazon for outdoorsy type people. So odds are if your audience is in that niche, my point is this.
I'm trying to keep a straight face here, but I haven't been able to at all.
In this regard, listen. If your audience is outdoorsy, they probably already have an REI account.
I don't.
If your audience is into books and your audience is into, I don't know, buying anything, they have an Amazon account. And so even though REI, like Amazon, has a pretty low commission rate, last I checked, it was, around 6%. Retail stuff tends to be lower. They already have an account for it. And so the barrier to entry is lower. And so one thing is like, yeah, you could promote a product and get an extra, double the commission if you don't promote it on Amazon or don't promote it on REI, for example, but you'll make more sales if you promote it on those sites because they probably already have an account. So that was the outdoors niche, Mark and Robbie, you outdoorsy types.
Next time you're in Coeur d'Alene, we'll take you camping.
I want video proof of this. That's what I want.
Nice.
Backpacking.
That's all I get. Nice. Nice.
All right, so we've got our last two niches.
Hey, we have a question. Can we ask a question first?
I want to address any questions we have. Yep.
Yes, we do have a question. Vic had a question here. Let me put it on the screen. What are some of the ways you would contact your audience or even reach out to an audience if you don't have one? I'm assuming within the context of holiday promotions.
Yeah. To answer the first question, ways you could contact your audience, email, Facebook posts, tweets, literally just reach out to them. I'm assuming, in the context of this, it may be referencing when I said, ask your audience, what are the things that, they want to know? What are the hobbies what are the bucket list things? You would ask them, via email, via Facebook. Those are great ways to do it. Reach out to an audience if you don't have one. Groups, we talk about this a lot in List Launch Academy. One of the strategies we share in there is all about getting in a group. These groups already exist. That's the thing. It's like people think, I have to go find my audience. Not really. They already exist. Mm-hmm. There's somebody out there. Oh, well, my audience is only CPAs in Indiana. Oh, so like the Indiana CPAs organization, like the LinkedIn group for CPAs in Indiana. Oh, my audience is, fitness professionals, female fitness professionals. Yeah, there's probably about 24 Facebook groups for those. What about, think of any niche out there. There's already a Facebook or LinkedIn group for that niche. It already exists. You go become a part of that niche. You contribute. We talk in depth how to do this in List Launch Academy, where you contribute. You become a contributor in the sense of you become somebody that they recognize, and you provide value to that audience. And in turn, you're reading everything they're posting, and you're learning about them. You start noticing that people tend to use phrases over and over again, and that you pick up on those things. And so in that example, we'll go back to the CPAs niche, you know, and I'm making this up because I only know one CPA and he's ours. But
no,
Hard Rock and CPA.
You know Eric.
Oh, yeah. Eric, yeah, of course, Eric's still backing. So I know 2 CPAs. That's one more than I actually really want to know. So
wow, I'm telling Eric.
Yeah. No, it's my CPA that's the one more. Actually, Eric would be just. But like you notice in that group that you keep seeing this phrase where people say, you know, gosh, I'm trying to think of something that they might say. What do I say to our CPA? I teep getting asked the same question over and over again about such and such. And you go, wow, if I could only teach CPAs how to create an FAQ page or something like that. You know, I mean, like, I know that's a very simplistic thing, but my point is you'll begin to notice that these people use similar words, similar phrases, and you get to enter into the conversation they're already having. And you get to use their words, not yours. For instance, I really don't say the word lead generation much. I don't refer to people who subscribe to my email list as leads. In my world that I came from, that's what they're called. And I called them that for years. But when I surveyed my audience and noticed what they were saying, they said subscribers. So I refer to them as subscribers because that's the language that my audience predominantly speaks. Very few of them say leads. And so you learn that by being in those groups. Like you learn what your audience is already talking about.
I think the other thing too, I mean, if you don't have an audience, even if you do have an audience, you should probably, it wouldn't hurt to do this. Just like share it on your Facebook page. Like, hey, I saw this really cool gift, or hey, here's my top 10 recommendations. Like people love when you like help them, you know? So if you say, hey, here's my top 10 recommendations. I was looking at Amazon the other day and here's 10 gifts that are super awesome that I think are really neat. And somebody will buy through your link. Like,
yeah.
Somebody will buy something. I mean, it'll happen. And you're being helpful. You're serving. So.
Yep. So I want to answer Tammy's question before we jump into these last 2 niches real quick. I'm wondering if tapping the New Year's resolutions now for a dream building program is a good idea. Yep. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's that time of year.
I'm making a GIF. I'm making a GIF of you doing that, just so you know.
Wait, ready? Here we go. Right. Are you ready to like screen record this, or just gonna?
No, I'll catch it later.
All right, I expect that to be posted later, and then sent to me because I would love to have that GIF. No, but seriously, it's that time of year for people are thinking about those. You know, it goes back to what do we talk about? Bucket list items. You know, when I think of dream building, that's probably a bucket list type thing. New Year's resolutions, like this is going to be the year. No, I mean, very few people like this is going to be the June that I'm like, it's irrational. Don't get me wrong.
It's going to be the week of December 3rd through 8th.
I've never made a New Year's resolution. Like that's just not how my brain is wired, but it is a natural break, for most people. And so, yeah, I mean, it totally,
especially around things like health. Yeah. It's a natural break. That New Year's, right? My gym last year, for example, I decided to stay away because the previous year from January 2nd, nobody came the 1st, from January 2nd through about January 12th, you could not get into the gym. January 13th, 14th, all of a sudden, the New Year's resolution folks were gone. So you want to talk about the health niche a little bit here?
Gosh, you are on top of the segues today, Rob.
Speaking of the gym.
Yeah. Well, I mean, health is more of a category than a niche. It's actually, it's basically just a collection of a bunch of smaller, niches, crazy profitable, crazy lucrative. We're talking anything from vitamins, supplements, weight loss, specialized diets, exercise equipment, exercise routines, treating medical conditions. So like, treating diabetes, treating, thyroid conditions. I'm just thinking of I'm trying to picture like random body parts and what could be wrong with them, avoiding cancer, I mean, all these things, hair loss, I don't know what Mark. I don't know. But like the thing is, like the travel niche, it's an evergreen niche, but it just, people never stop worrying about their health, right? It's not a fad, but it peaks this time of year, like Robbie was saying. It peaks for a lot of reasons. Again, it's that time of year when people reflect on the past year and what did they probably do, statistically speaking, this past year. They didn't stick to the diet they set. They may or may not have gained some weight. They didn't, they were exercising 6 days a week in January, 5 days a week in February, and by July it was 2 days a week. It's that time of year. Forgot to do that time of year when they're not getting outside as much. Generally speaking, like I'm not getting outside as much. It's freaking cold here. Yesterday I was outside talking to Robbie and Mark, walked about 5 or 6 miles. I don't think it topped 30. I think the wind chill never topped 25 degrees, but I had to get out because I was getting stir crazy. But still, we're not getting outside as much. And so this is a niche that's huge. The niche, it's over $1 trillion industry, right? And it's going up. Last I checked, it's going up by 5 to 8% every year, which is greater than the rate of inflation. Okay, so there's a lot of money to be made in this niche. And again, it's that time of year when people are thinking about this more in December and January than they're thinking about in March, than they're thinking about in June. Yep. And the health and fitness industry is a little bit cyclical because people start thinking about, swimsuit weather in like late April. So I gotta do this stuff, the kids are back in school. So I'll start now is a little bit of a time. They start thinking about, the new year, of course, now.
That was a really weird ending. Totally did not expect you to stop talking there. There wasn't the definite. This is the end of my thought here. It was just like he just stopped talking.
Here.
No, I mean it's and we all know it. I mean, I think if you looked at everything that you could lump into health, I mean, people pay and spend ridiculous amounts of money on their health for good reason. That's a good thing to invest in is your health and being in good shape and feeling good. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a good one.
Yeah. Before we get into our last one, Tammy's question, is there a very simple template building a very fundamental, simple, basic course on any topic? I would encourage you to get Katie Horner's. She's got the very basic template. And to your point, Tammy, you may already have 10 programs that will teach you how to do this. But if you want to get it, I know it was a Black Friday deal. Email me. I'm happy to see if she'll extend that to you as a part of a bundle that she put together, and it was under $100. That said, here's the best way. Copy. That's what we did for No Product, No Problem, Tammy. So what we did, Affiliate Insider Monthly is we looked at other membership sites and copied what we liked and fixed the stuff we didn't like. And, we got to kind of pull from a few different places. And that's what it is. List Launch Academy, we basically pulled from about 7 or 8 different courses. And, you have 10 courses, so pull what you like from, the ones like, I loved the way that I think the idea for the audio downloads, I can't remember who I got that from. Might've been Jeff Walker. I loved that there were audio downloads, because I like to listen to the lessons when I'm on the go. So I've got on my phone, I've got probably half a dozen courses on my phone. I've never watched some of those lessons. I just listen to them. And yeah, copy what you see, Tammy. I love the way the top part of this website's laid out. So this applies to websites, courses, whatever. But I love the way the navigation is on this one. And I love the way they do, they set up the video and then below it is this. And I love how there's a drop-down menu, like whatever you like, just copy it. Just remember, this is something we've had to work on. Your goal is results. What gets them to the finish line? First of all, what is the finish line and how do you get them there? Don't put anything in your course. Avoid feature creep. Okay. Don't put anything in your course that doesn't get them to that result.
I'll be back. My son got into something. I'm not sure what.
I'm hoping it wasn't nuclear waste.
No, it's glue. It's glue.
And yes, the
replay
of the live session to answer Hazel's question, this will be up at mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guide. It'll be part of our ultimate guide there, so you'll be able to find it there. So Matt, let's talk about the final niche that you want to make sure everybody's aware of today, as probably the top niche of this whole holiday season.
Yeah, we'll do this last niche, then we'll do some more Q&A at the end, because I know Skip has a question as Melissa can get the bag of chips.
No, it's wipes to wipe my son's hands. Carry on.
Oh, I'm glad it was
hands. Glue all over his hands.
When it was wipes to wipe my son's, like
you're like la 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 la.
I'm glad it
Family
was.
show. Family show.
What do you think I was gonna say? Anyway, the number one niche for the holiday season is your niche. It's your niche. We talked about this at the beginning, and this wasn't just because we couldn't come up with an eighth one. We promised 5, we ended up with 8. So I'm kind of repeating it, right? It's your niche. The most important thing is that any of these, like, you can giftatize anything. You can make anything into a holiday theme. If there's a holiday sale on something that has nothing to do with the holidays, then it's a holiday promotion. The most important thing is to follow what we teach in the Ultimate Guide to Affiliate Promotions. Again, mattmcwilliams.com/ultimate. What is the URL? Holiday Guide. mattmcwilliams.com/holiday guides. Use promo codes that are specific to the holidays. Make promotions into an event. Use the holiday themed graphics. We just talked about that in a podcast episode that's on that Ultimate Guide. Listen to all 12 episodes of the podcast, the Affiliate Guide, that are coming out talking about holiday promotions. Apply what we teach, because they apply to not only holiday themes, not only holiday products, but they apply to any product at this time of year. And the cool thing is, most of these apply to any type of promotion throughout the year. Memorial Day sales, July 4th sales, Victory over Japan Day sales, whatever it may be, they apply.
Well played.
Your niche, that's the most important thing, okay, is to really get honed in on your niche. Which, speaking of segues, I did not mean this. We did not do this on purpose. We were smart enough to do that. That goes right into Skip's question. Mark, you can put that up on the screen. So, is your opinion on micro niche versus broad niche to start into an area? Is that Karsten?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Karsten.
You want to come say hi real quick? You want to say hi? No.
Hi.
You want to say hi?
Oh. What's up?
Everybody say hi to Karsten.
Everybody say hi to Karsten.
Say hi.
You're not going to say hi?
You say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
I was going to wave, huh?
Hi. Oh my gosh, looks just like his brother.
Yeah, I know, right?
So he didn't really, like, a year ago, but now he really does.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness he looks more like Lacey too.
Right? Amen to that. Yeah. All right, go watch your show, and then we'll have dinner in a second, okay?
So I want to address Skip's questions. Then Hazel and Tammy, I know you were interested in Katie's course.
Vic too.
So what's that?
Vic was too.
Oh, Vic. Okay. So what's your opinion on this? Is from Skip. What's your opinion on micro niche versus broad niche to start into an area? I always talk about starting micro and growing from there, Skip. And so here's what happens. Brendan Burchard, and I'm sure other people call it the halo effect. You become such an expert. So for me, it's affiliate marketing, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many people we go to conferences now, and it's like, affiliate guy, that's the, and they come up and they just start, like, people I've never met. And I'll be honest, it's a little disconcerting when it happens. I've gotten used to it, thankfully, now, but it's kind of weird when people, they just come up to you and be like, hey, so I have a question about affiliate stuff. Because 5 years ago, it was like, well, what do you do? Well, I do this. Oh, well, I have, now it's just, they come up. I'm like, we've never met. And it kind of freaks me out sometimes. But they come up, they ask about affiliate. They don't come up and ask me about other stuff. Why? Because I'm not the world's leading expert on anything else. But you're asking me about niches, Skip. Somebody earlier asked me about, finding an audience. I think that was Vic.
Creating a course.
What's that?
Creating a course.
Creating a course. All of these things are connected. Why? Because I got really focused on this one little thing, and I allowed it to organically go from there. The problem is when you try to start here, then you're bouncing all over the place. And so, the old saying I always use is when you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. So you find that core audience. And like I tell people, all the time, Skip, you niche down, like it should hurt a little bit and then it should hurt some more when you niche down. Like, no, that's too small. It's too small. Like you should go from, ooh, that's a little small to, oh, I don't want to niche down that much. Can I really produce like 2 years worth of content in that small of a niche? Yes, you can. I mean, we have a backlog of like 300 possible blog posts and whatnot that we could do. Probably not 300, but it's close. It's close. It's in the hundreds. You will never run out of content because it's your thing. That's your jam. And then you'll notice that somebody comes to you for something else. And then people are coming to me for productivity stuff now, right? And all I do is say, get a Robbie. Because they think I'm some productivity expert because I'm above average, barely in terms of productivity. Why? Because I got very specific on one thing, Skip. So always go micro. All right, here's what we want.
Can I just say something on that? I was just gonna say, I get why we think that, and I think normally we think, oh, it's gonna be harder to get an audience in a smaller niche.
Yeah.
But for everything you said, it's actually easier. It's easier because you want people to show up on your site or see your Facebook Live or see your blog post and immediately say, this is for me or it's not for me. That's what you wanted to do. And that's a lot easier to do in a very, very small niche. And then, like you said, Matt, it grows from there and you get recognized in other areas. But it really is easier in a small niche than it is a big niche.
Yep. So real quick on Katie's deal, I don't know if it's still live, but here's what we're going to do. If it is, I'm checking to see if it's still live for everyone. Katie had an amazing Black Friday bundle, and part of that was a little, a very simple course creation tool that I, for the life of me, cannot find on our deals page. There it is. Okay. Wow, our Black Friday deals page was long, which was awesome. So this course is not open for enrollment. So here's what I'm going to do. If you guys, if you're interested, Hazel, Vic, and Tammy, and anyone else, she's got, she has a bundle. She's got Premier Your Course Idea. So worth $297. It's basically to learn, how to pre-sell a course and if it's even good. She's got some affiliate marketing secrets and strategies. So you'll learn some stuff from her too. How to be GDPR compliant, the Media Kit Creation Masterclass, the Business Branding Masterclass, emails that convert, the Do-It-Yourself Newsletter Evaluation course. She's got a blogger series and a course creation blueprint, okay, because you were looking for a template. All of that, I mean, it's like $1,600, $1,700, $1,800, $1,800 in value. Guys, seriously, like if she sold all those separate, were $97. So you saved 95%. That was over Black Friday weekend. If you will email me, just email me at matt@mattmcwilliams.com. I'll reach out to Katie, or Mark, maybe you could reach out to Katie on Messenger, because I know I need to respond to her on another message that she just sent us about something else. And let's just see if she can extend that for like a day or two for our audience. I can't promise, but I'll try. I will try. It's totally her call. I will tell you just personally, I might not do it if somebody asks me, because I like to stick to deadlines, but we'll see if she can. And there you go. So if not, she's got the blueprint by itself for, I think 90 for also 97, but why only get that when you can get everything else? Katie's amazing. So you'll learn a ton from her. I'm not real big on like how to create courses other than just copy stuff, but this is more of a blueprint, like make sure you don't forget stuff. So $97 was the whole Black Friday bundle for her, Tammy. Again, it's like 95% off everything if you bought it separately for her. So we'll ask her if she would extend that for our people. If you'll email me, matt@mattmcwilliams.com, and just put Katie's bundle in the subject line, then we'll see if we can get that. And again, no promises, just to be clear, but we'll try our best.
Yes. And Katie's awesome. And you should follow her, even if she doesn't say yes to this.
Yes. So, real quick, I just want to share a couple other just niches, if these make sense for your audience. These are just some that kind of just didn't make the cut, and I didn't want to go into depth about them. Yeah, Mark is typing organic tomato farming because that's an NP.
That was Matt, or that was Robbie, I think.
Robbie, nice.
Well played.
Digital currency and nootropics are also. I've done some research. Those kind of most experts, those were right below making the cut today. Are some industries you might look at, some industries you might want to look at for the holidays 2019. So
I know a guy on digital currency. I know a guy that knows a little bit about that.
We do know a guy.
I know a guy. I got a guy. I got a digital currency guy.
So for Katie's, again, matt@mattmcwilliams.com. Just put Katie's bundle in the subject line, and we'll see if we can help you guys out there with that. Any last words, guys? Anything as we wrap up, other than to check out the Ultimate Guide?
That time of year.
It's that time of year, and you can giftitize everything.
Head on over to mattmcwilliams.com /
in the history of the United States
/ holiday guide. And it really is, guys. I mean, we were going through it this year, updating some stuff, adding new stuff, and I was going through it and it just kept scrolling. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a lot of content. This is really good. So if you have not checked it out, please do so. Unlike Black Friday deals, it will be available after today and after the holidays, but you won't get as much use out of it after the holidays.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys, and awesome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We went long today, but so much to cover, and we'll see you on the Ultimate Guide. See you on the podcast. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to the Affiliate Guide podcast, make sure you do that wherever you listen to those podcasts. It should be an Apple device, Gwen, but whatever. And
she's gone. She didn't hear it. She had to run away.
Anyway, leave us a rating and review. We always appreciate that. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
See you guys.